Good evening, everyone. All protocol observed, but I must make special mention of the minister in our presence, Patrick Todd. Thanks for coming. It's been 40 years. It's been 40 years. I left this school just over 40 years ago. And contrary to popular belief, I am not a past student. I am a former student of this school, because I believe past students are dead. I always say that. This is the first time for over 40 years that I've been invited to come back to this school to make a contribution to the school. Only recently I found out, in fact, that there is an active alumni on board. So I am a member, not by choice, but obviously because I've been here. Before I get into the meat of everything that I want to talk about, I want to say thank you to the administration of St. Patrick's Roman Catholic for inviting me back. I believe when I got the phone call, there were a couple doubts as to whether or not he would come. But thanks to Father Paul, who said once that call was made, he would accept. Thank you, Father Paul, for your faith. I was here in the 60s. I was here somewhere around 64, 65. And funny enough, my mother is 86 years old. So here I am on the phone calling Mom. Kid, you remember who taught me at school? She's 86. I'm not that old. And she says, yes. And there was Mrs. Smith, who I believe has gone to the great beyond. There was Miss Charles, Miss Maughan, some great teachers. And then I remembered there was Sister Gabriel, who was very strict, but very sweet. Hi, Sister Gabriel. And there was Sister Santa, who was quite the opposite. Very small, neat lady, always had a kind word. I love this school. I really love this school. I had one major experience at the school that has lived with me until this very day. It was the morning I came to school and heard of the death of the late, great Jackie Opel. Jackie Opel died a couple yards away on a corner, right over there, maybe about 250 yards. At the time, I'm a child, very small. I don't know who on earth is Jackie Opel. But I saw the urgency. I saw the urgency. As a matter of fact, he remained on the ground for over 2 hours. So by the time we got here, we were still able to see the remnants of what was going on. And I could not believe that in my professional career, this would have meant so much to me to be able to say, you know what? I was there, albeit not when he was alive, but when he was dead. And believe me, that little point put me way above all of my other colleagues in this industry, because there's a lot I can talk about that. But I want to read a little something here very quickly. I did not write the speech. I don't have to write my speech. I'm a part of this institution. For our young people, for our very young people, this is really and truly the beginning of the second phase of your educational life. This, in fact, is extremely important. What happens from here on will decide for you what happens in life. Let me make this abundantly clear. I've looked at those results, some excellent results coming from the school. It is not about where you go. It is about how you apply yourself. It doesn't matter if you go to Queens, to Combermere, to St. Michael, to Dighton Griffith, wherever you go, you have to first and foremost apply yourself. So I start like this. In Jeremiah 33:3, it simply says, call to me and I will answer you. You know who that me represents? Anybody understands who that me represents? Who does that me represent? Yes, it represents God. He says, you call to me and I will answer you and I will tell you great and hidden things that you don't know about yourself. That is extremely important. Let me explain to you. Like you, I wanted to be a pilot. Yeah, I wanted to be a U.S. Marine. I live in the States, so I don't know what's going to happen. I wanted to be a fireman. I wanted to be everything you could possibly think of than what I'm doing today. And it was interesting that when I applied at the fire service, I was called. I was called to do the fire service. And I had applied at Rediffusion at the same time. I went in, I did the fire service exam, and I was successful, and I was called. And the morning, with my bag packed, going down the driveway to register and start my fire service tenure, Mom runs out the door. She says, "No, come, there's a phone call for you. Can you take it?" I said, "Geez, but I'm going to be late." She says, "But you need to take this call." And I went back and I took that call. And that call was from the general manager of Barbados Rediffusion. And he said to me, "Your application has been approved. Could you come in today and do a physical?" Now here I am, I'm packed. I've got my clothes and everything, my shoes. I am going to the fire service all the way up to the airport. And I called the fire chief. At the time, a guy called Mr. Giddens. I remember him very well. And I said, "You know what? On my application, I wrote, there was a section that asks you to indicate the jobs that you would have wanted to do." And I did put down, in fact, that I wanted to do broadcasting. I was young, green, no experience at all, none at all. And I called him and I said, "Hey, I was on my way to you, but I got a call from Barbados Rediffusion, and I'm opting to take that call." And he said, "Good luck in whatever you do." I went on. That was 1983, just before the death of Bob Marley, and the rest is history. I say to you, you may have in mind what you want to do now. And sometimes when that happens, we limit ourselves to the subjects that we can do. Never do it. Do everything that comes your way. You never know when it's going to help. So if I didn't do geography, and if I didn't do chemistry, and if I didn't do maths, and all the other subjects that I needed to do, I would have been in real trouble, because I am in an arena where basically you have to know a little of everything. So I have to know history. I have to know social studies. I have to know geography. When they talk about the intertropical convergence zone and all these things, I have to know these things. So you hone your craft and you shape yourself in the early years of your secondary school. It is extremely important. And I want to say this to you. I was a person that would go out a lot. Father Paul will tell you, I had the strictest mother on earth. She was crazy. She still is. At 86 years old, you don't play with her. And I loved the garrison. Yeah, I loved it. And one day she said to me, "You know, the garrison is on hold. You got your schoolwork to do. When those marks coming, how I want to see them, then I would allow you to do anything that you want to do." Oh, I quarreled, I cried, everything. I said the worst things in the world maybe at that time. I've lived though to see the day when I can say to her, "Thank you." Now you may not see it. You may not see it. You could never understand what I'm saying to you now. But I want you to retain it. Retain it. There has to be a relationship between child and parent, where parent leads and child listens. Has to be very important. One of the biggest issues we've got in the country, the parents all want their children to go to the best schools, but they wait until the last 2 weeks or the final term to try to get their children educated to that point. No, 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 no. Your journey that starts now starts with every day. As Father Paul indicated in your little summation I heard, homework every day must be done and looked over. And TV don't go nowhere, you know. These same pictures that we're showing then, we can watch them now. So it isn't going anywhere. So don't think that you're missing anything. And what you have that we did not have, and I really wish we did, and I don't know how I would have handled it as a teenager then, you have access to the biggest learning platform ever made, the internet. So you can be ahead of everything that happens in your school. You can be ahead. I remember I did Spanish. I loved Spanish. I did Spanish. I see a smile. You like Spanish, huh? Yes, it's a lovely subject, really. And I sat Spanish at London. And what was good for me is, before I did the Spanish exam, I spent a month in Venezuela, so I was a bit fluent with that. I don't use Spanish today, but sometimes it is necessary to use Spanish. There comes a subject that you tend to think, but when on earth would I ever use this? And you tend to think that all those mathematical formulas are not important to you, but when I go to the supermarket, I don't really need x squared plus y squared equals 2 and 3 squared. Yeah? It comes in handy. You need it, so you have to get it, you have to attain it. And you have to develop a policy of study that works your imagination. Don't just read. It's not going to stay if you just read. You have to place it. So, if you're doing your history, you have to create the history. It has to be there with you physically. It helps you to remember. I remember in 1987, there was a young girl who was sitting an exam. It was a biology exam, and she said to me, I can't retain the biology at all, but I have a formula. I never forget this. And I said, so what is your formula? She says, oh, I'll call you back in a couple days, and I'll let you hear what I have planned. And she called back a week after, probably, and she said, Mr. Nelson, are you going to listen? I said, yes, I'm going to listen. And she took a dub rhythm, rehearsed everything on that dub rhythm, and sang it to me. It's the longest dub rhythm I've ever heard. But you know what? She knew everything about that subject in that dub song. Now, I am saying to you, that's her way of doing it. You have now to develop your own way of doing it. And first and foremost, you need to be respectful. Respectful to your teachers, because the secondary school arena is a very serious arena. As I said, it doesn't matter which school you go to, and if you're not careful, you can easily be left out, because the schools are very anxious for success. They're looking towards the students who pay attention, the most brilliant students, the ones who really come to school to work. It is not everything that a teacher will say to you that you will like or you would enjoy. That's all right. It doesn't matter. Go into your quiet zone and say a little prayer. And ask God to come back in. Ask God to remind you of the days you spent at the Roman Catholic school. Ask Him to guide you. Before you go to bed at night, you kneel, you got a difficulty with a math subject or whatever, some giving stress, pray about it and pray about it and pray about it. Next day you go to school, you may just see a teacher that is quite different. Hi Paul, come, let's sit down, let's work this out. I really couldn't deal with you yesterday. I had too many things on my head, but I could deal with you today. You have to continue to call on the God that you've been taught about. That man that you know, that a lot of schools in this country have no idea who he is. One of the biggest travesties in this country is the lack of the concept of prayer at assembly. I notice it is particularly missing in the secondary schools, and that is where really and truly it is needed most. And that is why I enjoyed my tenure. Now I'm Catholic. I came to school here, so I knew what praying was all about. I had a mother that was insistent on you learning the entire Bible. So before you watch Time Tunnel and Land of the Giants and Barnabas Collins, you better be able to recite some type of Psalms, some piece of Romans, or something, or the TV staying off. And as I told you, we took those things for granted. Now you have a situation and you're going to meet these people in school. But you have to be different. You have to be leaders. You're going to meet those people in school, and the road to destruction always seems like the easiest road to travel. The sweetest road to travel. The devil ain't easy. He does come in all forms of fashions. All forms. You have to be able to remember that you have a solid foundation of Christian education, and that is what you have to call on when the time comes. And I want to tell you, it will come. You will be approached, I was fortunate because, as I said, Mom was not easy. So when I departed my life at Catholic, she felt that, you see you, if we don't protect you, you're going to end up in trouble. So she sent me to the Seventh-day Adventist school. I am not an Adventist. I am the president of the Seventh-day Adventist Alumni Association. Now, I'm Catholic, and I always say that. And I find that that is easy for me because despite whatever happens, we serve one God, though. One God. We serve one God. And I get in a lot of problems when I do speeches at Adventist events. Yesterday, the Adventist school had their graduation, and something came on me yesterday. I was supposed to go to that graduation, and something made me stay home. Luckily, I was not supposed to speak, but I will normally go and usher in the new children, and my spirit, something did not happen to my spirit, and I did not get there. I had to come here because I said to myself, after 40 years, I'm not going to give up this opportunity to make sure that our young people go in the right direction. So in the secondary schools, which are not Christian-based, which don't necessarily teach you anything about the Bible, you have to depend on you and the God that you serve to guide you on a daily basis. It is no joke. Do not take this for granted. Prison is not easy. You don't want to try it. You don't want to get involved in anything. People will come to you and they would offer you things. Peer pressure. You know what the peer pressure is? The peer pressure is, man, don't worry about he's soft. He's a joke. He ain't know nothing about this. He's soft. He can't do this and he can't do that. And I can tell you from experience that that is only what happens in a group. But when you get alone, there's that inner man in you that tells you that was wrong. And you got to get it right. And I want to say it to you, whatever you do, don't be no follower. Make sure that you are a leader. They tell me, and I heard, even in the church, that you call a spade a spade. No, it's about being truthful though. That is what it is. It is about being truthful. It is about telling you if the color is red, it is red. It is maroon. It is red, and we have a serious problem with that in this country. And I want you to protect yourself, to build up that wall, that you believe in yourself so much. Your foundation is so strong that when you get that push, all you do is stumble. That's all you do. You stumble, you recollect, and you continue to travel again. And they ask me, how come your back is so broad? My back ain't broad. I smart. I learned the concept of forgetting. I forget by the minute. So if you have a confrontation with me, my way of not dealing with you at a confrontation level is to put it aside and move on. And in my little head, I say a little something. Lord, how you can deal with this? Well, he's an idiot though. I got to keep quiet here. But he don't know that I have said that. And I want to say this to you. I mean, I go on in a direction here that's very interesting. Look, you do not need, you have a personal relationship with God. Every one of you. There is that relationship with God. And I like it from the point of view that nobody knows what I am thinking. Because God don't tell nobody. He don't talk to nobody else but you. So if you have a problem, if you stole somebody's pencil, naturally, you will feel bad about it. I stole pencils. I didn't pray at the time, but somebody else stole mine. Maybe if I had prayed, I would have been saved, somebody stealing my pencil. But that's a reality. You can repent. God hears you each and every time, and especially children. Especially children, he is particularly kind to children because he understands that they will make mistakes. He just wants you to follow a couple of the commandments. And don't forget them. You honor your mother and your father. He says that your days will be long in the land. It means that you will live long, healthy lives. There's one that says, thou shalt not steal. That for me was the easiest one because I could not steal. I had the mother that if I brought home a pencil that wasn't mine, oops, I get a little cut tail. And I got to take it back the next day. And I have to give it back to the person to whom it belongs. Because you see, she would ask who the pencil belonged to. So if you carry it back and you throwing it in dustbin, you put it in desk and she called the teacher and that child don't receive that pencil, you in real trouble. You can get another beating when you get home. Today, parents are not interested in that. A child comes home with a different shirt. How your shirt, man? I like it. Where you get it from? What I can see, I can see me coming up my walkway with a different shirt. Are you saying you're schooling that? You ain't coming in here with that shirt. Get back where you get it from, and come here bareback. We can deal with it when you get in here. That's what's missing now. That's what's missing. That's what's missing. Parents, you are very, very, very responsible for where our young people are going. It's you. You're responsible for it. If you don't make them call to account, they will continue to do the foolishness that they're doing. And then we give the prison system and the police system a tremendous amount of pressure because we take all our children and we put it on that system. Many parents in this country think that school is a day nursery. So I drop off my child for 8 or 8:30 and I go back and I pick them up at 3 o'clock and that is it. What happens on the way home? Two of them discussing them job. No, it can't work so. It is, how was your day? Did you have any difficulties today? Is there something that we can talk about? Because sometimes children would prefer to talk to a parent, some father, some mother. That is not a problem. If the relationship is a good relationship, wherever you tell your father, your mother, gonna know, and vice versa. And you as parents must be able to realize these things in your children. When your child comes home with a sad face, after having left home with a happy face, something wrong. You have to ask a question. That could be the beginning of something that you cannot turn back. I know I have had too many experiences with headmasters calling parents to schools. Too many experiences. If you take away a child's cell phone, so what? So what? In the United States, you are not going to walk into any school with a working cell phone because there are some systems in place that once you hit on the compound of the school, the phones are disabled. You can't make no calls in or no calls out. And I hear parents on the radio talking about, but my child got asthma, supposed to get attacked. We got the school that could deal with that. There are procedures in place to allow for those things to be taken care of. A lot of excuses we find. And then, oh yeah, we won't give them the best peripheral. Yeah, you're going to buy them an iPad and an i this and an i that. And they can't see. You can't monitor because as soon as you start to do that, you have lost control. And check this. If your child's bedroom has a lock, take it off. Anytime you have a situation where your child can lock you out of a bedroom, you have to be paying rent, though. Have to be paying rent. No, no. I was a customs officer. I was an official customs officer. Listen to this. When you take up onions and potatoes, catch my son one day with onions and potatoes and things that you work so hard for. He would like to come home and do a soup and he go in school with them. So foolish me. So you doing homework at school now? No. So were you going to school with these things? What happening at school? A bus had passed the evening before. The students decided to take some adder eggs and pelt the children with the adder eggs. And their response was, all right, no problem. Want to win this evening, but I can win tomorrow. So all my English potatoes, sweet potatoes, onions, and everything gone. But I was a customs officer because I would search your bag every morning and frustrate you. I used to enjoy doing that. I was a serious customs officer. We have lost that sense of discipline. Stop liking your child. Love your child. And I'm going to explain the difference. I'm going to explain the difference. I'm going to explain the difference. We don't want to see our child vexed or upset with us. Yeah? I don't care. I'm making sure that you're doing what is right. And I ain't talking about taking up the belt and hitting the body, because I ain't for that. I ain't for that at all. I am concerned about that aspect of corporal punishment. You don't have to do that. A child hurts when you disable their joy. Learn how to do it. What is it they like most? You ever had the experience where your mother asked you to do something and you won't do it and she didn't tell you nothing? And then the school fair coming up and you go and you close and you ready to go, and your friend come outside, yeah, and she look at you, where you going? You don't going nowhere. You remember last week I tell you to clean up the yard? No, but that's punishment, guys. You don't have to take up the belt and a big stick or nothing and beat your child. You don't have to do that. I flatten my son tires, bicycle tires, put them there. When you begin to listen to me, you could ride it. That's hurt. That is hurt. But it also shows something else. It shows a level of respect and understanding with you and the child is you. We as parents got to stop being these people that are oppressors. It is a bad history lesson that we were taught, and we have to rid ourselves of it. It is one of the factors that cause domestic violence. When you can't control a woman, you can do anything to control her. And you remember when my mother wanted me to do something, I used to get my tail cut. Them days gone. Develop a relationship that the child can understand that you love it, and you'll be surprised to see what a difference it would make. I had enough experiences in my lifetime, a lot of experiences. And I would say to you parents, don't be disappointed when you have worked so hard for your children. When you have done all that you know you can possibly do for your children, and they still disappoint you. And I want to say to the mothers, this is why I love mine, and this is why I love the mothers. Every time we have a story in the news where a child is caught up in the courts, and you ask the parent anything about the child, there's the father. He don't want locking up everything. But I don't care what you would do with he. Check the mother. My son is a good boy. My son is a very good boy. No, I used to laugh at that, but that ain't nothing to laugh at. This is what I have learnt about that. As a parent, if you are a parent, you would understand where I am going. There are some things that don't matter how bad your child is, that your child will do to you that will turn your heart. And sometimes you just want to remember one thing, because you're searching. Why should I support him? Why should I go to court? Why should I spend this money? And that one little thing that child would have done, maybe brought tea for you while you were in bed. Maybe simply asked you, Mommy, how was your day? And I say to everybody who laugh, you or I cannot determine that relationship. And any mother who goes to court and makes that statement, I understand that statement, because she reared them from here, from smaller than that. It is not easy. Wake up, parents. We got to make it happen for the children. We have a lot of work to do, and I don't care what school you go to, because a lot of you sit here thinking that when your child goes into a particular secondary school that he or she is protected. That's a joke. Look at the stats. That's not true. There are lots of unreported cases in this country of incidents that happens in some of the most prestigious schools and are not reported. It is your duty to protect the school system, to protect the teachers in the school system, and to protect your ward, your child, nobody else. Until we develop a system like the international arena where parents are held accountable for the actions of their children, I want to congratulate you all. I looked at your points. Some of you have done exceedingly well. All of you have done the best that you can do. I want to say to you, the paper that you will sit for CXE is the same paper. It's the same paper whether you go on to Halifax or Bromley School. Everybody gets the same paper. What makes the difference is the level of application that you have applied to your studies. Parents, what makes the difference is the level of attention and care that you have given in helping these children to move to the other stage. Don't fight with them. Work with them. Talk with them. Help to understand what they're going through. There are children. Some of them can't put themselves over, and you'll be amazed in our school system what certain children are going through. But if you want to make them better children and not rebellious, you can calm down and keep your hand to your side. Boys and girls, I sat there many years ago, not wanting to do this. I was scared of a microphone, very scared. And then it was a gift from God, because that's all it is, because I don't know how it happened. I was at school, at the Seventh-day Adventist school one day, and I was blabbing my mouth, and the headmaster felt that I was commentating cricket. Yes? And he said to me, what we are going to do for chapel on Wednesday, we're going to set up a stereo system, and you're going to do requests for everybody in the school. And teachers are very responsible for where our children go, and in many cases, who they become. So parents, you have to support teachers at all cost. I want to read something very briefly for you. It comes from John, 1 John 2:1. Now, you see me on TV, and it is unfortunate that people don't really know who you are. They don't know your background. They don't know what you've gone through. As soon as you assume a position, they categorize you. It is the world we live in. It's not exclusive behavior to Barbados. It is the world we live in. I know who I am. I could sing almost every hymn the Catholic people sing and more. I sing hymns today that I don't ever hear to sing in church again. Tell prisoners that they are prisoners no more. You remember that song, Father Paul? Tell blind people that they can see. I don't hear them singing them songs. I hear in the chorus. And go tell everyone the news that the kingdom of God has come. And go tell everyone the news that God's kingdom has come. I learned that right here. I learned that song right. I used to love the Catholic hymns. And Mommy would make sure that we sing them on Sunday mornings through Skeeter Davis and Jim Reeves and all them people. Don't play on a dub, on a dance hall in one house. The message is not right. It will corrupt your children, whether you like it or not. Old school is the best school. We have over 16 students here that we have to look after and we have to take care of. And every parent in this audience must be a parent to every child who is sitting here who has graduated at all times. I will end with this. My little children, I am writing these things to you so that you may not sin. But if anyone does sin, we have an advocate with the Father, Jesus Christ, the righteous one. Remember I told you that? Yes, you can sin, things gonna happen. But whenever you do that, if it's against mommy or daddy, you apologize and you pray for it. You will make mistakes. That is okay. It is how you recover from the mistake that is important. It goes on. It says that Jesus is the shoulder of all sins. It doesn't matter what type of sin it is. He's the shoulder. He's the only one that you can talk to and will be ready to forgive you of that sin. And I never understood that. I used to say, but this man, though, who is he though? What I sin all the time, every time I pray into he, well, he very good, will he's forgive me so? It's a good thing he ain't got a belt. Because I will not be standing here. But that is who he is. Somebody who understands us more than anybody else in here, even our parents. If we keep his commandments, it says, whatever things happen to us, if we do not keep his commandments, we are liars to the gospel and to him and the truth. He says, whosoever keeps his word, in him truly the love of God is perfected. Do not get into any school and get involved in any discussions with any atheists, anybody that are not willing to accept that there's a God. How you get up in the morning, you think you do it on your own? No, you don't. You are at the mercy of the Lord Jesus Christ. He is responsible for you rising every morning. So you got to kneel at that bed and give thanks. I pray. I get up at 3:30 every morning. And I go in the bath and I praying. Every night you go and lie down in that bed. Lord, I apologize for every bad thing I've done today. But I continue to seek your guidance as I lie down to sleep this night. Forgive me from my sins and protect me until I rise in the morning. Hopefully I'll be able to do better. Simple. You don't got to be in a big time prayer, use no big words or anything. Lord, I sin today at all. I need some help. I want you to talk to me. He hears, he listens. I wish you all well in your future endeavors. I want you to remember, as I said at the beginning, your journey starts here. Keep God close at hand. Walk with something, if you may, that would remind you of who he is, his power and his promise to you to protect you at all times. It is not a one-way street. You will take, so you have to give. I wish you all the very best of luck.